I never thought I'd be making this video, but here I am today. Buy or invest. This time, this is for the Japanese Weiss Schwarz side. We got Disney Pixar Cars trial deck. What I meant by that is I am literally making this video for me. I have no idea how much I'm going to buy. There are some positives with Cars. There are a bunch of negatives that I see going on with it. With this video series, what I look to do is go through my thought process on how much I'm going to buy for my collection, what I'm going to buy investment wise if I do want to actually invest in this actual series. My disclaimer with that is I do not want to sell any of this stuff. I want to keep it all for me to open when I'm older, or if I find someone that actually likes the series, I don't mind giving it to them because I think it's fun to just spread the love, especially when it comes to trial decks. Speaking of trial decks, Disney Pixar has also put out, or gave Weiss Schwarz the ability to put out, Toy Story. That came out on June 24th. We also have Disney Pixar Monsters, which is coming out on July 29th. There is a booster box coming out at the end of September for all of Pixar's series. What we have then with Cars is this is releasing on September 9th, trial deck. There are 3 special rares. There are no signatures. That follows suit with what happened on Toy Story and what will be happening on Monsters Inc. 8 triple rares have been shown so far, and 2 super rares is normally the norm. I haven't seen it totally, like where they reveal the cards. They've shown some cards, but I couldn't zoom in enough to see if it was a super rare or not. Let's see. So we got special rares. As you can see, we got Lightning McQueen over here, number 95. It's actually neat to see that they put his number there, because if you take a look at Doc Hudson all the way to the right, who is the fabulous Hudson Hornet, who has a 51, there is no 51 that says Doc Hudson or Hudson Hornet. I think that would have been neat to have, but for whatever reason, that was not chosen. What they did was put the license plate on here, as you see with Mater as well. What we got then is some triple rares, so check them out. We got some action shots going on. Looks like a lot of fun and competitiveness going on there, and sportsmanship likeness happening. Anyways, we got Cars, we got Repairman, we got a VW, which my niece really loved. Well, I'll be talking about that later anyways. And again, with these series, what we're starting to see is, like with Marvel, with even new sets that are coming out over the past year, people have been getting voice actors to actually sign these cards. So in this case, let's take a look at who's actually played this. So we got Owen Wilson that played Lightning McQueen. We got Bunny Hunt that played Sally, and unfortunately Paul Newman, no longer with us, played Doc Hudson, and Larry the Cable Guy that played Mater. And we have a ton of other people. I know my sister is a fan of Monk, so Tony Shalhoub there as Luigi. So a big thing to keep in mind is all the different voice actors and possibly getting signed in real life. I think that'd be neat to see. So what was put out here, you saw the triple rares, you saw the SPs, we also got the splash of all the different cards out here. And this is the thing that I said I couldn't zoom in, I couldn't see the SRs. I wasn't going to attempt anymore to even do that, but these are what I would imagine would have been on the Cars cards. So there you are, you have a variety of different cars. Okay, so what I did here was I went and did a survey of different people, because I needed to find more normal people than me that possibly have watched these movies. And I just don't watch Disney movies. For the most part, Disney Pixar movies, I don't really watch them. I'm an anime guy. I don't like the fact that for the most part, it ends predictably, right? Like, we have predictable kind of endings when it comes to Disney. With anime, people will be dying left and right, and I needed to ask people, like, their opinions on what Cars was. So this is not a joke. This is what people have come out and told me. So this is niece. There, I put a picture there because I have 2 nieces that you've seen before. So this is first niece, and this is me texting her. What do you think? Literally, the first thing she wrote back was "Ka-chow." Yeah, she said that. She did that. I can't believe she did, but she did. And I wrote, "Oh my god." So niece, I mean, they look nice. So she's talking about the cards. I mean, yeah, they look nice. I sent them all of those pictures from what I showed you before. They look nice, but more importantly, I saw them in real life. So over to the right, Lightning McQueen, she was excited. Anyways, I watched the movie and all, but that's where the enjoyment kind of ends for me. And I'm like, okay, well, I need to ask more people. So, other niece, I think the background is cute and I like the VW van, but I'm not a big Cars fan in general. When are they showing the Toy Story ones? That is not a joke. She really wrote that. I mean, and I was like, that's crazy. That it's to her, it was just one of those ones where it doesn't really matter. So we kept on talking. I told her about rankings of the different Pixar movies out there, which I'll be showing you in a little bit. So yes, something about the personification of them wasn't done right. It's probably got something to do with the uncanny valley theory. So you should check out that theory if you don't know what that means. But I've looked at a lot of reviews on Rotten Tomatoes from just normal people, not critics. I didn't read any of the reviews of it. I just looked at people, and some people thought this movie was boring. Some people didn't like how that the cars were given like human faces and emotions and all that. They couldn't relate, or it was just weird. There was something weird about it, and that's what she wrote. I had to look that theory up. So my brother, he wrote Cars Now, LOL. There you go. He is a fan, just so you know, of High School DxD. We got Kill la Kill and Attack on Titan. So brother here has some choices. I know people would call him a man of culture for his love of, let's say, Fujimi there off to the left. Mrs. B, she wrote, not my cup of tea. These aren't cute at all. I'm excited for Monsters Inc. So another person that shoved aside Cars and look towards other things. Me, this is for my sister. So as you saw, if you didn't watch the Toy Story video, she pulled that triple rare Forky, which was actually the most expensive one in there. We still have some trial decks left, so maybe one day I open them. Maybe I don't, but there could be SPs in the other displays that I got, obviously. But inside of that trial deck display, there may be a chance at another signature. So anyways, sister here, want in on Cars? No. What do you think about Cars? No. That was it. That was it. She is not excited about Cars at all. She does not want that. She's excited for Monsters Inc. as well with my wife. So what we got then is, I was like, okay, that was my impromptu survey of people I know, what they thought of it. And then I'm like, you know what, let me just go out on the internet. So I found articles. This one was all Pixar movies ranked by Tomato Meter from Rotten Tomatoes. And as you know, Tomato Meter, this was the critic scores. Personal preference of mine is I look at a movie for the most part, like this works 80, 90% of the time. I look at critic scores. I look at fan scores. If the critic scores are high and the fans hate it, I more than likely am not going to like that movie. If the critic scores are low and the normal people out there that watch it love the movie, I normally like it. And there's those chances where they both match up, like where they both are really, really good. Like Top Gun. Top Gun was in the 90s for both critics and actual normal people that reviewed it. So there are those times. But this time I just used this. And when I did click on a couple of them, a lot of them did match across the board. So Toy Story 1 and 2 both tied, surprisingly. Finding Nemo, Inside Out, Toy Story 3. You can see Toy Story is on the top 7 when it comes to Tomato Meter. What you're going to notice in the bottom right is Cars, number 24. Cars 3, number 25. Cars 2, number 26. People really hated Cars 2. I don't know what happened in it. I didn't watch it. I didn't watch Cars 2 or 3. I was going to put myself through that, but yeah, pretty bad, pretty bad. So then I'm like, okay, these are critic scores. Let me find people that rated it elsewhere. So here are all 26 Pixar movies ranked from worst to best. I changed it around, obviously, so I made 1 through 25, and 25 being the worst. As you can see, number 22 through 22, 24, 25 is Cars Cars 3, Cars 2, which actually matches in a way in the ranking where Cars was the better one, Cars 3 was the mid best, and then you got the worst being Cars 2. So I don't know what happened on Cars 2, but it got really bad there. The Good Dinosaur is down there as well, so it matches across the board. And then over on the good side, we got Toy Story 1, 3, 2, and then Toy Story 4 is on number 12 when it came to that one. I use these two websites, but I will tell you, I looked at two other websites, and Cars was at the bottom of those lists as well. You might have something like The Good Dinosaur mixed in there, Monsters University, Finding Dory might have been in there, but overall, you will see Cars throughout the different lists. Go try to find some, and you will see Cars down there. It's just not good when it came to actual ratings. And then I'm like, okay, fine, you got me. When it comes to America, maybe you don't like Cars, but we're talking about Japanese Weiss Schwarz, right? So I need to find something that tells you how much those people actually watch, Japanese people watch, because that's where it's coming out, Japanese Weiss Schwarz. It's not coming out for English, so let's find out. What I did here was I found this website. It's called The Numbers. It was the easiest to look at, so this is what I brought up. They have here domestic box office sales, $244 million. That's a crazy amount. And then international box office, 217. So pretty good. And then I'm like, you know what? Let me just check out Toy Story. So we got Toy Story here, 192 domestically, international 172. And I'm like, you know what? Cars did pretty freaking well when you thought about that, like looking at the two. And then I'm like, no, I can't do that. That's not comparing the same time period, because I remember when I was younger, poor, I didn't go to the movie theaters, right? I watched at home, anything that came up. And same idea here. There was different time periods. People had different amounts of money. So what I decided to do from, Cars being 2006, Toy Story being 1995, I went and tried to find around that time period. So we got Finding Nemo. So plus a couple years minus a couple years. So Finding Nemo, 380 million domestically, international 555. It freaking killed it. Incredibles 2004, 261, 370 for international. Right, so you can see Incredibles dropped down a bit overall for both domestically, internationally. And then we got Cars, 244 and 217. So keep those numbers in mind, 244, 217. So what you think about happened with Finding Nemo? Finding Nemo just totally destroyed him. The Incredibles totally destroyed him. And you're like, okay, well, maybe Cars, it was a bad period where people didn't have money. Not really. Like, so while it came out, I seen it. It wasn't a good movie for me. I didn't really enjoy that thing. We had 233 domestically, which lost to Cars, but internationally 308 versus 217. And then finally we got Up, that came out next, 293, 438, totally beat those other two movies. So overall, what I'm trying to tell you here is Cars did not good compared to all the other films that came out like around it during that time period. I tried to give it up, but I mean, Toy Story would have totally killed it if it came out in this time period, right? Like in 2006. They should have made a ton of freaking money, but they didn't. So going by family, people that I know, they don't like it. We go by ratings, and Cars was not liked. We go by the numbers on how much it actually sold, and it did pretty bad. So that's what I'm telling you. I was sitting here trying to figure out how much it should buy, and I'm like, geez, this is freaking terrible. But in the end, we're going to get Pixar All Stars booster box. It's going to encompass all these different series, and it should be good. Even though you might not like a series like Cars, you may not like The Good Dinosaur. Overall, it's got all these in there, so it should appeal to a wide assortment of people. But when we take a look at Cars itself, not so good. So what I put here is following 3-star. I actually had it at a 2. And I went back and forth on it. The reason being, there is one huge reason that I'm going to tell you why. The reason is, when you think about any of the movies you watch, just think about it. Do your movies normally sell this much money? Do they make this much money? Do they make $244 million domestically, and internationally $217 million? Most movies don't make that. That is a crazy amount. I get it. It's because kids and appealing to them, and kids can't go to the movie theater, so parents have to go. So there's a ton of money to be made when you make kids movies. And in this way, there's a lot more exposure than your normal movie, like Saw. Like, you know, I like Saw 1 through Saw 8 or whatever it is. And they would have killed to have $461 million. I didn't look it up, but I'm guessing they didn't make $461 million. If I'm wrong in that, I apologize, Saw people, because I don't know, but I can't imagine it doing that, right? Like, across the board, does a lot of movies make 461, 365, 936, 631, 461, 532, $731 million? No, I don't think so. So overall, even though the following is the weakest, I think, on Cars for Disney Pixar's, in general, it's bigger than a lot of other things. You see a lot of toys for Cars. There's whatever else merchandise out there, right? And people buy it. It might be the lowest actual IP that Pixar might have in rankings in terms of sales and all that, but it still sells millions. And Meta Strength, we don't know it. I saw a card in there. It was not the greatest brainstorm, right? I had to go back and look up what I think it was. Sally, she had a brainstorm, which you just draw from the top of the deck. Not your best brainstorm. If you really wanted to sell it, I guess you could have did a salvage brainstorm, which would have been pretty awesome to force people into buying this trial deck. In the end, I think people will be buying this trial deck realistically, because this is part of the trial deck series for Pixar, right? For me, I struggle because I have the Toy Story one. I'm getting the Monsters Inc. one. It just feels like my collection is incomplete if I don't get the Cars one. So I'm basically forced into buying this. I know that sounds awful, but it's true, right? Like, even though you don't like a certain character, let's say in Rent a Girlfriend, like, you might not like Mommy, but if you want a master set, you're going to have her in there. And in this way, Cars, for me, collection-wise, I need to buy this. Investment-wise, for all those reasons I said before, I think it's one of those ones where if you are looking to buy it, I wouldn't buy a mountain of them. Maybe in time they'll make a Cars 5 or 4, Cars 4, and that'll be better. Actually, hold on, wait a second. I can go back. Did they put? I can't see it. These things are way too small. I was like, is there a Cars 3 in here? Anywhere in there? I know we had Cars 1, Cars 2, and Cars 3 was a better movie than Cars 2, but I don't know if it was in there, if they had all the same characters or not, but there we are. Pixar All Stars, like I said, should be really good. I just think if you're going to get there's 4 things in the set, right? We got 3 trial decks, 1 booster box. If you want a sealed collection, you're gonna need this one to complete it, and in that way I could see people actually buying it. Again, you could have made it super strong. You could make the trial deck actually have something in there that is needed to help push this sucker out there, because this is the weakest one. Seriously, I really wonder why they picked Cars. You had, let's say, at least 20, I don't want to say 20, I didn't count it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16. You had 16 IPs to choose from, and you went with Cars. So that was interesting to me as I did this, but no matter now, like, you can't take it back. So overall, I don't know how much I would invite. Again, I just be worried about it that it doesn't do well. Overall though, with how much it's actually sold worldwide, maybe you don't struggle with it. I just think when I invest, right, like, and that was the main point at the beginning of this, is the sellability. Will people want to buy this Cars trial deck? Can you sell this Cars trial deck? Is it going to be popular enough to do it? Because we know car games are a niche itself. Japanese car games, even more of a niche itself. and you need it to sell to people here. I don't know how many people are out there that are willing to buy this like come a few years from now, and that's what I'm looking for. Not in the short term, but long term. Overall, this is a rough run. I've never had a buy and invest that I struggled so much on. Like when I look at a set, I pretty much know how much I want to get right away without even doing one of these videos. But this time around, I have to like talk myself into buying this thing, and that's never where you want to be. But at the other side of that is, this isn't really meant for us on the English side, right? It's more the Japanese side, and internationally, maybe this does better there. But I don't look to, if I were to ever look to sell these things, I wouldn't be looking internationally to do so. So hopefully that helps you all. As always, have fun, be happy, and don't spend anything outside of your budget. Have a good one.